So hi Bart.
Hey, hi Dave. How are you doing?
Oh hi, thank you. Thank you very much for having me back in your in the wonderful Soundbringer studio.
You're welcome.
Seems a bit of a time since we've sort of like sat in here and made some crazy videos.
It's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah.
It's been a bit of a soul mission. And thank you for coming along on the 25th of January. That was quite that was the big flyby day.
Yeah, it was great.
I put it out for loads of people to come along, and the only person who turned up really was my mum and local friends and that sort of stuff.
It was a great party. I really enjoyed it. I think.
It was wonderful. It was a miracle because my mum's been dealing with cancer, and for my mum to turn up.
She's a miracle herself. She's beautiful. She's really an amazing person.
And the crazy thing is, the day after, we went to Lourdes, and so she's just come through the chemo. We went to Lourdes, and you can get in the cold water. I mean, I can't believe my mum actually got in the cold water. But what was amazing is so many people come to the Pyrenees for a pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking about that, and just thinking about how much stress it's been putting a flyby date on, like the last one. Like I said, I mean, after that first flyby date, thereafter, I realised that I didn't know how close this is going to be every time it comes by. And I'm going to show you in a little bit. I'm going to take you through the footage.
Okay.
To try and demonstrate the clear possibility that this thing really could have flown by, just like I said. Whether I'm correct, I don't know. I'm going to offer the data, and let the viewers decide. Really, let yourself and let the viewers decide. But what it's made me realise is that I'm not going to be doing this same thing next year, just sitting here waiting for a date to fly by. Admittedly, we've got a load of food as a result of preparing for this flyby, and I didn't know how it was going to be.
So better to be safe and sorry, and ready. So
we got a load of food for the refugee camp, because I said that the food access to our needs. I was going to take down the refugee camp, and so we got in Toulouse. They've got a lot of refugees in Toulouse. We had Lou turned up from Spain, and she bought a load of clothes that were heading for the that she wants to take to the refugee camp as well. So she's delivered those to me. So, I tried to turn the whole 25th thing into a progressive thing where there was a lot of opportunity for people to bring stuff, so we could take stuff, we could prepare, and we could, end up with loads of seed. We've ended up with loads of stuff for the refugees. We've ended up with. We're realising also that putting a date on this and trying to bring the information isn't going to get people to come anywhere. And I go to Lourdes, and I find that more people come to the Pyrenees for pilgrimage. And I think the answer is next year, around about September. It's coming to your birthday.
This year, you mean this year?
Sorry, this year.
Vienna this year, Vienna this year.
Your 40th birthday.
Yeah.
You and I both do events and that sort of stuff. It's time to turn this around. I'm thinking about an event. I think you want to do.
It's very likely that we're going to have an event in September, October, definitely.
Let's turn this around, and all those people are doing YouTube channels out there that have a voice, and not just on Nibiru, just on all the sort of like all the conspiracy stuff, all the alternative stuff, all the spiritual
all
stuff.
All the truth seekers, really, because conspiracy it's just a word, conspiracy, that I don't really like, because I don't think there's a conspiracy. I think there's lots of facts and lots of things that are hidden from plain sight, really. And I think what's really interesting is when you look outside the general media, you see things that are corroborating on different websites.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's a sign that there are truths out there that we don't always get to hear. So I'm interested more into getting the alternative media, to meet. Let's say meeting of alternative minds. I think that's a nice nice way to put it.
And to turn it into a pilgrimage, to have a bit of a sort of like gathering where we can network, we can drink, we can link loads of different groups, loads of different channels, loads of different sort of like ideas, and fuse them together.
I agree
at
with
a gathering.
I think
up here in the mountains.
When you see what
late September this year.
Late September this year, I think, is a good idea, and it will coincide with my birthday. But I think it's more than that. It's also to show the world that there's not us against them, because we are drawn into this world that could be NATO versus China, or NATO versus Muslims, or America versus Russia. And we are in Europe, in the heart of Europe, in the middle, between Spain, Italy, France, England.
Being kind of set up.
We're here. We are set up for something that we don't want. So let's make an alternative. That's the word, I think. Let's make an alternative, and let's show people that love music. all these things can bring people together. And whoever's watching this, hopefully they'll book a flight and say, okay, I'll bring my tent, bring my family, bring my caravan, and explore an alternative to their lifestyles as well. It's all about changing your life, stop consuming, start thinking out of the box, even stop working for big companies, because they're driving our humanity to an end. If we look at how it's organized, maybe rethink society a little bit and see if we can get the businesses in the hands of the workers, which is something my family has been striving towards. It's getting back to our work, possessing our own work hours and not giving our time away or even getting paid for it. But it's like you're giving it away to someone else. So whatever you do is going to benefit someone else much more than it's going to benefit you. And that's the thing that's wrong with society, I think. One of the things anyway, one of the main things.
Well, I'm going to take you through in a second all the data that's come in over January. So let's review, because no more kind of like I'm not really down with the timelines anymore. Too stressful. They're not really that productive. But the information nonetheless is really important, and we've got to start we've got to be willing to look at the information. It's a bit scary, but we've got to be willing to look at the information. Whether we're going to make any predictions, whether we're going to make any calculations, I don't know. But I think it's time now to bring, all the minds out there that are kind of, that are of a notion that there's something happening.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring that together into such a way that there's an opportunity for all these people to come together and to reinforce all of these people. But also, this is a time where we're, like you say, we're being drawn into a very a state of war.
I mean, people manufacturing these weapons most of the time that are pushing us towards that. If you look at the situation,
so I want to give people. I'm of a mind that we're being invited to go into a very low vibration now.
Yeah, that's right.
And I want to see people to touch this deep space within their own hearts, and to come on a quest, on a mission, on a pilgrimage. Or pèlerinage. How do you say it in French?
Pèlerinage en français. Pèlerinage. Pèlerinage.
Oh,
pèlerinage.
Oh, pèlerinage. Oh my goodness me, I'm going to have to practice that.
You've been here for a while, it'll come eventually.
Pèlerinage.
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 Un pèlerin, c'est quelqu'un qui fait un pèlerinage.
Pèlerinage. I'll practice that one, I promise you, I'll get better.
Le pèlerinage, c'est...
But that's going to be along the lines of I think the idea of a gathering, because it's got to have music, it's got to have entertainment, but it's got to be a conference. It's got to be. It's
got to go beyond nations of religion, nations of political sides. It's got to go beyond all these things we think is the limit, like color of skin, language. All these things are barriers in the minds of people, but they're not barriers. They're just differences. That's what we should remember. There's no races. There's no racism is just the most stupid thing.
Christians,
ever.
Muslims, Buddhists.
This is all concepts of the mind. We are all human beings, for God's sake, or for humanity's sake.
Gnostics.
Yeah, agnostics. Come on.
Agnostics.
Agnostics, all of them. Bring them all.
That's what I think. Everyone. Just a purpose to arrive at this space up in the mountains in the Pyrenees, which is, this is a massive place where all over the world people come to do pilgrimages, just like in India, just like in so many places.
Like or something like that,
And so, a quest, and then to bring all of this together, and a massive celebration of the true heart. This is going to be.
Let's ignite the fire of the heart once again. Like Christianity
It's
started
love
fires,
over will, not will over love.
Exactly.
But love over will.
Let's go back to the roots. Like the roots of Christianity. Heart. Christianity started with a fire, a congregation where people came around the fire and talked. After they built a church around that and forgot the fire. That's what Christianity was. Islam as well. It started with really good intentions. The root of Islam is Sufism. It's peace. It's art, and what do we see? These fundamentalists of Islam who are preaching, destruction, killing, and bombing. But this is so far away from the root of the religion itself. So let's bring together, the roots of ourselves, the root of the root of all this.
I'm up for it.
And go beyond the concepts of words and go beyond all this.
And so that's also an invitation for you, for all of you out there, that would like to get involved in something like that. Realise that you're feeling very on your own and very isolated in this, and you're talking a truth. You've got a few views on YouTube and that sort of stuff, but you're kind of on your own, and in that situation, it's a real invitation for lots of people to come and get involved in this and help build it in any which way you can, whatever you want to bring to the table, whether it's music, whether it's information, whether it's helping facilitate this, whether it's helping finance this, whether it's helping sort of like you can just see how we're going to sort of like how we're going to be dealing with this. It's an opportunity, we've got to come together because we are being dragged into something which is really quite negative, and we've got to come together.
We've got to find an alternative route, for humanity.
Man, it's your birthday coming, you're 40th.
This is what my present would be, in my dream, would be to find an alternative path for humanity, because on one side we've got the media showing us one way, but that's not the way, that's just their intentions. We've got to manifest our own intentions. It's like the political game, it's one world that is just totally distant from reality, and people are realizing this, and they don't want to go to vote this year for the French elections because they think it's all a game, So we've got to change and find an alternative path.
Get those 50% that don't vote to vote, to engage.
Yeah, engage in something else. At least if you're not going to go and vote, just go and make something with your life and with time and meet like-minded people and realize that humanity is not about war and bombing. It's about coming together and in peace and harmony, and without being so much of a hippie, which I probably am. It's just go beyond just work and the intellect and always the mind. Let's go express your body, dance, go back to your heart and just live healthy and try to find new ways to live without all these things that society pushes onto you, like eating meat. I mean, it could be anything that you're used to. Go out of your routine. That's a key word, routine. Right. If you change your routine for this year, it would be a nice thing for you, I think.
Okay. And
it was a nice thing for me.
Well, okay. So let me let's these I've got up here. This was the 200-day timeline. These dates here. Let me just play that through, run that through, because this was a part of the old video from the 5th of August. Every 200 days, I'd worked out this is in a date calculator. These dates were derived from sightings of. This was in the previous video from twin tail sightings that. All the dates are here. Actually, they're in all my other videos. Actually, to be honest with you, this has been the fundamental kind of mechanism of the timeline that led up to the 25th of January 2017.
Wow.
And I just thought I'd quickly, a very very quick flash at that, because really, I'm going to let this timeline rest now. Really, pretty much. It's like I say, it's not doing me any favors, but it led up to the 25th, which is obviously come and gone. Mm-hmm. And I think I've got evidence to suggest it really did fly by, and it was very very close. Let me take you through the footage. Okay, so here we're going to start with a video that was put up by Chris Actor. It was Nibiru Planet X warning, very graphic, Chris Actor.
Oh my. What is that?
Something's catching the light there. It looks very spherical.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
29th of December. So we're starting, at the end of December. Then, of course, we've had, the snowfall in Greece. Unbelievably.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Yeah.
If this isn't evidence that we've got a pole shift happening, I really... I don't know if the poles are shifting. We're hearing so much reports that this is occurring. It's it kind of, this would fit with the fact that the concept that Earth, as it's come around the sun, has actually gone Nibiru is very close, or very kind of underneath Earth slightly, but still between the sun and the and Earth. But it's relatively closer to us this year than it was last year, and it's affecting our axis slightly, and it's causing certain areas to experience snow. It was snowing in New Zealand, in the mountains,
in New Zealand as well.
In the middle of summer, snowing in the refugee camps. And now we're going to go over to this Dill Martin video. This was on the 1st of the 1st, 2017, a shot that he's put up here. I love Dill Martin. He puts up a video every day, and this was just, it's an unusual sighting. What is it? It doesn't quite fit into. Is it a UFO? Is it a planet? Then this was in the same video. Again, it's.
So I don't know if the poles are shifting, but this is in Poland, and certainly the poles are doing a great job at a lot of things. They're not so good at filming, apparently, but they're pretty good. There's a lot of poles shifting to the UK, apparently.
Chris Actor again, another shot from him. I'm just giving you some of the best selection of the videos that I've seen over January, really, and the end of December, over January, and.
Well, why don't we zoom in and take a closer look and see what that is?
Yeah, some interesting things.
He's gonna.
At first blush, we would think it's just a small little blue object. But if we hit it with the gamma,
something emerging from that shot.
Look what we get.
Looks like waves. Looks like a drop of water, when you see a flat sea and a flat lake, and there's something that falls into that lake.
Look at that.
But that's the size of
look at the frequency coming off of there.
And that's quite close to the moon. That's coming in more into our night sky. So this isn't occurring anywhere between us and the sun now. This is actually moving, coming. These, I'm of a mind, are objects, planets, moons orbiting this dwarf planet, and they're far enough
away. Those are frequency
away
waves.
That they are starting to enter our night sky, even though the whole system is still very much between us and the sun. This is an interesting video he's also adding.
So there you have it.
And see that's round sphere there. He's identifying there. I mean, what is that? Is that a normal sunset?
Behind.
Just like,
yeah, that doesn't look normal.
And with that thing above, I mean, this is just.
The sun.
It doesn't look like a lens flare or anything. That one as well.
This is not fear mongering. This is just showing.
Looks like a giant eye, but that's the sun.
What's there?
Here, this is not fear mongering.
No.
I'm not frightening anybody.
It's just showing. This is what his camera is capturing, and.
This is just corroborating.
I mean, the world is going so wrong. There's no fear to be had because whatever's there could destroy a lot of things, but hopefully it'll destroy the bad things and leave the good things,
It's amazing what we can believe by the press pumps out, and yet we can't. What our cameras capture. Everything about Donald Trump. Apparently he's anti-NATO, pro-Russia, blah blah blah.
You could just see in their faces. I mean, this Theresa May and Donald Trump. My cousin analysed their facial expressions. She's a specialist on behaviour, and language, and she analysed so much just out of the way they speak, and what they're saying is irrelevant. Just the way they speak and the faces, the gimmicks. You can tell a lot from someone just by looking at them. And just look at us.
Look at that, man.
And look at that.
That's exactly what I'm expecting.
Ain't no plane.
It's not a plane, no.
That's a portal.
It looks quite interesting.
Amazing. What is that?
You can see the energy / frequency. The same tards that did at Sandy Hook. And a lot of these
see
other
this massive sphere in the middle down there. There's a lot of stuff going on there that is. And what is this there?
The masters of the skies. What is in a name? Change the look, change the name, you have a new person.
Wow.
The masters of disguises. The Cokes. And all their cronies.
Look at that, you can always see
Their
the
little
tails of
CIA
it.
operations.
There's something out there, yeah.
Their mob,
The colours,
FBI, all their connections. Got it all locked up.
The quality is not amazing on that one, but I think we'll have some better footage later on, yeah.
Yeah, there's some great footage here.
Here's the red object that we see often next to the sun.
Okay, now we're coming on to this next video.
Early January this year, I've seen it.
Do you remember last year when we last made a film, which I think actually was in 2015? We showed those double rainbows, and they were,
oh yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
they're back again. So obviously we're doing this cycle, and we're seeing this same effect.
Mm-hmm.
And this halo around the sun, which we're assuming are told is ice crystals, you can see it in space. And this next video here, you know, is that a cloud? I mean, I'm expecting at this time for a planet to be coming towards the Earth with a tail directly behind it, looking something almost like that.
This looks interesting because we have mountains here, and when you have a mountain, usually you get clouds like that surround the mountain, but there's no mountain there, so it could be something above that attracts the cloud. You know, that's quite interesting.
It could totally be that. I mean, we've got this image, which I don't think has anything to do with Nibiru, but it was put up by Nick Thomas. But this concept of projecting a disc up into the sky. I mean, I don't know if this is legitimate. I don't know if any of these videos are legitimate.
Yeah, well, let people decide what they see, and analyze it themselves, and decide if it's something they want to believe or not. I don't know.
Exactly.
This one to me looks like CGI, but I'm not sure. So I'll let people decide for themselves. What do you think, cats?
Hello, poodles. Yeah.
That was definitely a helicopter.
Yeah, that was it might have been a CGI helicopter, but I tell you what, I mean, Nick Thomas, like I say, put this video up, and I mean,
that was a bird.
That's definitely a bird, isn't it? Is that a CGI bird?
That was a close flyby.
And here's another Nick Thomas video. This is like a shot between clouds, so it's very zoomed in. I don't think this is Nibiru. I think this is the other object I talked about in my last video, where we saw it in early 2016 when Becky Lewis got Nibiru, but she got a second planet, and I think this is this second planet. But we're very close to this system now, and so we're able to see these things.
That's pretty amazing. It looks like a phoenix if it was a bird, but it's definitely not a bird, that one. I think
it's an absolutely it's an incredible shot. Like I say, he's zooming in between two distant clouds. I mean, what is that?
That's pretty amazing, really. And it's not something that's entering our atmosphere. When you see this tails, it's something that's much further than our atmosphere. It's not a meteorite or something like that. It doesn't look like a meteorite.
No. And now we come to another Dill Martin video, Palms, California, 17th of January. So we're moving on. We're about halfway through January now, so we haven't got a lot more to cover. But we've got a few more interesting shots, and they get more and more sensational as we go along.
Lovely colours there.
It looks like a planet. It looks like it's got that tail which is catching the light. It's pretty breathtaking shot. It's getting closer to that point of the flyby that I was predicting. Remember, this thing's been moving like clockwork. Every 200 days, it pops into view, and obviously we go around the sun, and it's in a kind of very slow moving position going around the sun. So we get to see we go kind of past its closest proximity wherever it is once a year, and this is our point.
Looks like a planet to me.
Yeah, it could be.
Then we come to this next footage, Boston, USA, 13th of January, just before that last footage actually, so they're not all in total perfect date order. I'm sorry about that.
No, it doesn't matter.
But
time
notice here we've got
really exist anyways.
We've got the sun on the right hand side and we've got this glare coming in.
There.
Look at this. I mean, this is just bright.
So that's the sun on the right, and that's a massive light coming from somewhere.
And this is what Jeff P would probably call this sun simulator. It's utterly mind-blowing.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, wow.
What's making it do that? How does that work? It's completely blanked out the sun now.
Yeah, it's so bright, but the sun's disappeared. It's unlikely, really.
So I don't know how he's doing that or what's creating that. Here he's just done a speeded up version of it, and I suppose the sun just goes off screen there, but nonetheless, you can really get the gist that there's something really unusually super fast here.
But what's strange is if that's the sun on the right, why is it going down as the clock goes up? Because the clock was going up and that's going down. So maybe it's an angle thing, but I don't know. Okay,
so the next footage is UFO in Clouds, by Yanis P, published on the 15th of January 2017. I'm not too sure the specific date. It might come up. Let me just... But again, you've got this spherical looking thing in the sky with this tail behind it. It's exactly what I'm expecting to see coming round at exactly the right time, and the images, they just keep getting better and better and better. But now we've got this absolutely awesome Nibiru, Germany. Mm-hmm. It was on the 13th of January 2017, and what you're going to see here is you can see on the top left hand side there of the screen there's this what looks like this reddish kind of haze. This is going to develop into a sphere and it's going to move across the screen, and it's very big and it's quite slow moving, but it is probably the most sensational piece of Nibiru footage I've seen outside of the two suns that we saw Jeff P put up when we made that first video. That was probably the first most amazing bit of footage I've ever had, apart from the original footage I had, which I also showed you when we first made a video. Do you remember when I showed you the video, the clip, the 3 or 4 photographs that I took up on the mountain?
Yeah, with your phone. I remember these. Yeah, they were really clear.
Where I saw it myself.
Yeah, it's like,
it wasn't from YouTube or anything else like that.
No,
I had
it's totally different.
Totally attacked. Oh, it's Photoshop. It's blah blah blah. I've still got the original data in my iPhone, actually, the original photos, shots.
Yeah.
So people, if everyone wants to verify it, but I mean, it's just one of those things that.
Well, you know it for yourself, but it's
I know it for myself, and I've seen it up there, and it's much bigger than it was that year. That was on the 28th of August 2015.
Oh, look at that. Wow, it's moving across the...
It's massive. I mean, obviously, I don't know how much they've zoomed in here or anything else like that.
Yeah, we don't really know the scale, but it looks massive.
Amazing video deal. Can I just say that?
Well done for capturing that. Because that doesn't look like CGI at all. Like, we don't really know because of the quality, but it doesn't look so much like CGI.
Credit by...
Schmotz.
So maybe it's Schmotz who shot this, because Dill has a lot of subscribers, and a lot of subscribers send in a lot of shots, and he puts up a video every day, and every day is a sensational. But this is definitely one of the most incredible ones, and again, exactly what I'm expecting to see. What is it? Are we just going to keep ignoring it and say it doesn't exist and we can't take it in, and everyone just goes along with the kind of the mainstream media spin, and they can't see outside of the story of the bigger things that might be causing all these climatic changes, all these geographic changes, all these kind of like earthquakes, sinkholes.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on.
Crazy weather things.
Cracks opening in the earth, and
it's just it's all happening. There's something must be causing it. Is it just like Al Gore said, just climate change rapidly coming up to this point?
We have a storm tonight. It's coming tonight. I mean, we just seen the picture. It looks massive. People, brace yourself if you live. My parents live just right on where it's gonna hit, like Bordeaux, basically. It's coming right at us, and especially even in the Pyrenees, we are on the edge of the mountains, but it's coming from the west, so we are not protected much. You know, we might see the effects of it around 8 and 9 this morning. So
I mean, fingers crossed. I think we've got over the majority of it. We're still obviously going to get storms. We're still kind of, you know, we've come past it basically, and hopefully the rest of this footage will demonstrate that. So we are still going to get storms and everything else like that. But I'm praying. I mean, unless there's any debris that's going to be coming off the tail of this thing that has yet to reach us or yet to fly by, but I think the major part of it for this big cycle is I think we're through it. Fingers crossed. Obviously, you know, there's still going to be storms. There's still going to be lots of stuff because it's going to take as long as it took us to sort of come over it to go back out the other side of it, so to speak. So let's just keep going with this one here. This is another Dil Martin shot, another Dil Martin video, and we're, like I say, we're just progressively moving through January, taking some of the best shots of the many shots that have come up on YouTube over the last month.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, this is just January. We haven't even got into February, and maybe we'll do that for another video. But what is that? You know, it looks like it's got a tail behind it. This whole whatever that is behind it, whether it be cloud, whether it be the sort of remnants of the tail of this thing behind it, it does seem to be kind of
large
tracking
sphere,
with that sphere. What is it? It's right on schedule as far as I can see. It's exactly what I'm saying is up there, you know, and Santa Monica, that was on the 19th of the 1st, 2017 by the looks of it. Another great video deal, really quite amazing. So let's
I used to surf there, actually. Sorry.
Did you?
I used to surf in Santa Monica. That's where I first went surfing in my whole life, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, when I was like 17, 18. I spent 3 summers down there. Yeah, I like that area. It was
doing
sound
engineering.
Yeah, I started, well, basically I got this job. It was beginning of the internet, 96. I mean, it wasn't really widespread, the internet, but I was on the internet in my small village in France, and I thought, I want to be a sound man, so what should I do? Write to recording studios and try to get a job, you know, work experience. And at this time, they must not got many emails as well, so it was really early on. No Facebook, none of that.
They must have thought you were quite advanced.
It was quite amazing.
Like, wow.
I sent an email to like 10 studios, and one of them replied to me, and the same night, it was like, you know, day in California, so I was able literally to call the guy at 3 in the morning in France from my village, and call the guy, and he said, you know, I said, I really like to come to California and study sound. I love the sound of the Doors, that band, you know, Jim Morrison. And he said, you know what, I'm glad I replied to you, the guy who ran the studio, because he was working at the time recording John Densmore, which is the drummer of the Doors. And he offered me straight away, he said, come. So what I did, I worked all summer, got a job in the vineyards, and you know,
made the money.
And actually, I worked until June, and then in July I just think I'm going, and I spent 3 months, you know, working in California in the studio in Hollywood, and that was the beginning of my career. But I've learned a lot of things actually about recording.
So you're the right man for the job. If we do manage to get a little event off the ground.
Well, yeah, come in and hear for yourselves. We've got a lot of good bands around here actually, so
yes,
it'd be quite interesting.
It's a great opportunity, really. You know, unless we come together on this.
There's a great bunch of people around our age. I mean, you know, literally, I mean, there's so many cool people that actually dispatch some special cops to arrest us because a lot of people smoke dope, and you know, a lot of people have fun here, and we're just trying to stop it. You know, it's crazy, but it's what it is with this world, you know.
It would bring money. If we managed to get an event here, it would bring money to the area. It would bring. There's not much work around here.
It needs more work around here. Yeah, it's true.
So, and the people would love it. I think people would love it because
there's a great community.
Yeah. So okay, so this is Balnerty J Balnerty New. It's a. They're believing it's a cloud phenomenon, and honestly, maybe it is a cloud phenomenon. But, you know, it was on the 21st of January 2017, so that's like 4 days before the date that I said it would fly by. It starts with this thing that looks like a spherical object at the front with this massive, great cloud formation, but coming
Wow.
from behind
this
it.
One. What people check that? What is that?
You know, is it just cloud, and then it develops into this thing? I mean, is that not exactly what? Can you see the two tails, one on top of each other?
Yeah, it looks,
the way we're seeing
wow,
it.
it looks like uncannily like what you showed us, but from much closer now. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, this is what I said would you'd see in the sky. It'd be much closer.
I'd say it's a flyby, Dave. I don't know what it was, but it looks like a flyby. You know? Well done. Shake your hand for that one, because you predicted it.
It's
You
just
were
like
4 days off. I let you off 4 days. Okay, you're right.
Well, last time I was 2 days out, you know,
Yeah,
so you know, I seem to be getting worse at this. But like I say, you know, I mean, bless, I was so pleased that my mum turned up, and it was a miracle. But she was about the only person who turned up from far away.
She's lovely. I was glad
Bless
to meet
her.
her. She was really beautiful. She's a really beautiful person.
So this is another shot that's coming up all over the place. It's
Wow, that's nice.
unexplainable. You know, it's really, by our current standings, you know, you've got light coming out without a sun kind of light source. You've got this light coming, you know, is it what is it?
That's kind of Northern Lights looking or something.
Northern
like
Lights
that,
is too
but it's
bright
not. It's
in the
which
sky.
hemisphere? Where was that taken? Do you know where?
I'm not too sure where
Okay.
it's all it's all over the net. If I know, I'll leave a link
Okay.
when we edit the whole thing. Here, this guy's taking a shot. He's taking a video. I'm really not too sure whether. I'm assuming he's talking about the small white chemtrail there that's just sitting there on the horizon there. But I'm actually as equally interested by this long band of cloud.
That's come across the sky
That's an English accent.
from left to right.
Northern accent. I like it.
So he's looking at that. I'm kind of more curious about this whole line running above, because I think he's got two trails there. Just one so much bigger that he just wouldn't believe that it could be the trail. But I'm of a mind that that's what it is. The top one is the Nibiru tail that you're seeing running along the horizon, and the bottom one is the smaller, is the planet that's closer to the Nemesis system, or the dwarf system. That
Be interesting to see when the sun comes up.
it's
Could trust a Geordie.
you know what is that, and you know I don't know what it is. It's down to for everyone else to decide what that
That's
is.
really weird, because in the north of England normally there's not that much sun at all. You know, in January as well. Wow, that's pretty amazing.
That'll do for today anyway. Okay, people.
Nice one,
See
loud.
what the weather's like after trying to get a sunset.
Very sunshine in England. Wow, this is crazy, Dave.
Have a great day.
I'm joking. But
Well,
yeah.
there's been so much
Share, like,
fog and
yeah,
cloud.
No, but I mean, there's been snow in Athens, so why not sun in England? Last time I went to Scotland in May last year, it was 28 degrees in May. You know, I was swimming in the North Sea, like instead of wind, you know, and gusts of wind. It was really like paradise. We couldn't believe it. So
All-seeing eye in the clouds.
obviously, it's like the Jedi one. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. Whether this, I'm assuming this. You know, you looked at this one earlier actually, and
Yeah, I thought
and
it was
assuming it's just lens flare.
Lens flare, but it's more like overload of a sensor. This is in terms of digital photography. This would be overload of a sensor, but it could be overloaded because there's something going on with the sun as well. So it could be a sun flare at that moment or something.
I mean, the whole glaze of it obviously drew her attention to this, and when I saw it, I was just like, wow, that's really. It just doesn't look quite right. It's. You know that image I showed you a few clips back of where you had the sun and you had this unbelievably bright light coming in over the top of the sun.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a bit like that, because it doesn't look, the sunlight doesn't look quite right.
But she filmed it, so yeah.
Then we come into Exbility, or I'm not too sure how to pronounce that name actually, but this is
Oh wow. Check this lightning.
and you really got to look at. He's going to slow down the footage in a sec. I've just taken a part of the video, like I've done with all of these videos actually, because we've got too much to cover here to put all of these videos in full length. But nonetheless, in a second I've separated it up a little bit, and he just explores that lightning show. See how big that orb is.
Oh my God,
and it comes to another orb on the other end. Now, was this like a plasma bolt between two orbs? You know that in my last video I showed a plasma bolt between two planets that Jeff P caught on a webcam. That it was very similar to that, in that it looked like it could be some kind of bolt between two planets.
Yeah, it's a kind of two things being linked by
an orb there,
by lightning bolt.
And an orb there.
Normally lightning bolts as well. They usually lightning goes downhill, down from.
You can get it in clouds, except that this is very.
But it's a straight line that wide. If you consider the shot itself, it looks like very, very wide, that lightning.
It's uncanny. Obviously, we'll never know, but we if we put all the data together, we start seeing corroborations, and we've had this going on for quite a few years now, and starting to see yearly patterns. And every time we seem to come past, it gets closer, and we get these bigger light shows. God knows how big it's going to be next year. Is next year going to be the closest one? Is it going to be the year after? Like I say, I'm through with fly-by dates on this because it doesn't serve any purpose. So I'm going to run through this, and it's Jeff P talking about
sun simulator. Again,
sun simulators.
Okay, yeah, I've heard about this.
Photo, then we see this on the FAA camera. That this is you see the projection of this. Why is it projecting? Because we have a lens array. And then in the so here is proof of the lens array over in a time-lapse video that we could see many times over Australia. Proof of the lens array and the spinning. This just proves everything. So here,
just by the way, this is all the videos that he's showing here. Jeff B's showing here are all old videos. They're not on January. But I just thought I'd show you this.
That's
because
2016.
Yeah, he's just talking about his opinion on the what he calls a sun simulator. I don't agree with him there actually. I do agree with it, but I think I don't know if I'm of a mind that NASA or NATO are capable of building anything this scale.
Yeah. The sun is too much of a super.
None of us know. None of us know what's going on. We don't really know what's causing all of this. But I think it's too big and too fantastic. Mm-hmm. But he might be correct. But he's getting a lot of interest with the theory, and he's showing a lot of interesting data. And the fact that he's put so much effort into where I put time into the timeline and trying to work out when it most might affect us. He's putting a lot of time into understanding how this phenomenon could occur. So I'll just keep playing that. It's very interesting what he just shows you here, and it's really worth.
So here we
paying
get
attention.
This light here, which oscillates, is the spinning Fresnel lens, and we can see the lenses, groups of them, and we can see the lens here and here, the fake sun. The rose petal, I think, is because of the JPL Caltech collaboration on building their ultra thin lenses. These are not your conventional lenses. Again, you've got the smaller lenses here. Okay. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go on to cloud punches. What do I say cloud punches? This. Okay. This is the result of magnetic interference from another planet that's pressing on our planet. If this would have been a large cloud formation, this would have been a huge hailstorm. Notice it's always at sunset, following the chemtrails, and half the time we see this with during halos. So let's see if I catch up. Let me show you another video of this spinning Fresnel lens. Again, we see it here. This thing has been caught. This is a projection of it. It's projecting because we have the lens array. Please go back and watch my fake sun videos, but you can see this thing literally rotating in the sky. Okay, here we have basically a sun halo. And now the sun is being eclipsed and being hidden from us because we still have the sun simulator giving us the fake light. So the real sun here, the projection, the out of focus planet here, and then the projection planet here, and then the spot that it creates on the lens of the camera. So let's just go back in time. So here, again, this was taken on December 7th. So I'm going to go forward and let's go back in time a little bit. Now, here we have this same planet. Actually, let me show you the. Well, let's just keep going. I believe I know what planet this is, but let's do the. Okay. So here we have. Let me show you something else. Look at the absence of light. Do you see the light on the grass? And you see the ISO setting here is set at 100. That controls the level of light. Okay, I'm getting tired of being trolled and lied to, as you guys are. It blows the excuse that the camera has changed its ISO setting. That's why it's dark. Oh, really? Well, the camera is in full view of the sun, so if it's going to make any adjustments, it would have made it by now. Okay, and look, see how bright it is? Now watch this. I want you to focus your eyes on the light, the surrounding light, on the buildings, the grass, everything. And watch the absence of light drop off when this thing starts to go behind the planet. Right there. Do you see that? It is now being eclipsed. But because there's no clouds or chemtrails, we're not going to get that sun halo that we normally get.
So that kind of gives you an idea. That's Jeff Peace's kind of take on the whole sun simulator, how or why something can move in front of the sun, block out all the light, and so the light dims, and yet we still seem to have a sun up there. What's causing that? Why? This is why we're getting all this solar minimum at the moment.
Blocking the lights. Okay.
And it goes up and down in the middle of the day, and we just can't understand it. We haven't got any scientific way of understanding how the sun can just drop all its light, all its kind of its energy without anything being seen to block the.
We don't see anything in front of it.
We've never experienced anything like this.
No.
We've never known anything like this. This is just incredible.
That's pretty incredible, yeah.
So then we've got this this image, and this is all over the net, and it's about 2 miles long. This was posted on January the 27th. So this is during this big flyby day. I'm assuming it's going to stretch our planet, so we're not going to get so much earthquakes.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's stretching because it's being pulled.
It's being pulled by the gravitational forces.
Exactly. So it's tearing it apart, if you like. It's causing tears this way, and
explains the wormholes as well, the sinkholes as well. Sorry.
I mean, we've had some crazy storms, and we've had some crazy geological changes. We've had sinkholes. We've had loads of volcanoes going off. We've had all the stuff going on, but this stood out amongst everything else, amongst all the sinkholes and everything else.
I wonder what Donald Trump thinks of that, because instead of a wall, that's like a crack. That's like easily done.
And this on Global News. This has just happened in Peru, around about the same time.
Wow, this is not funny.
Same day. I mean, unbelievable. Look at that.
Size of a hotel dropping into water. Like a house of cards.
We've got big shifts going on. We've got major weather changes. We've got these incredible fires in Chile at the moment that have just wiped out so much forest land and so much agricultural land. Because it's so hot because of all the heat of this system below us. Isn't it irony? The sun's in solar minimum, and yet our oceans are chucking up all this moisture, and we've got all this heat coming in.
It feels a lot of warmth at the moment. I feel a lot of warmth.
This shot's all over YouTube at the moment. Birds going absolutely crazy. This is one of the things we expect to see when this thing flies by. Panic. The animals know there's something going on.
This is
this. I'm not too sure when it happened. I think it's quite early January. Because it's been on so many different footages, a piece of footage. So I'll if I can find the date, I'll add that to the video clip. But right now, so many people have shared it. And here, let's just stop this here, because before we get on to Trump,
another horror movie that looked like Hitchcock before, but that's another horror movie, isn't it?
Exactly, and
God,
this is. Here am I talking about a flyby date, saying, here am I talking about a flyby date, saying something's going to fly by on the 25th, and lots of people saying, well, it didn't happen, and getting seriously attacked on the channel by obviously
trolls,
maybe trolls, but also
or
maybe
people who just
maybe
wish it had happened, maybe,
or very pleased it didn't happen and just think I'm a total idiot for saying it. But nonetheless, I've tried to offer as much evidence.
You're just trying to put a message across. Don't shoot the messenger.
But can you imagine how I can imagine a lot of people feel the same as I do right now, because the amount of people I heard cheering Trump, pushing for Trump.
Well, they want something to happen. The people, I think, they want something to happen, but this is not the solution. You know,
I don't think this is what they thought was going to happen. You know, we had sort of Alex Jones telling us that Trump was completely anti-NATO. We've had so many people telling us that Trump is the sort of like the second coming and the most amazing sort of gift to the world. That he's anti-Trump, he's completely pro-Russian, which means he's not going to go to war with Russia. He's not going to join up with NATO. He's going to break NATO apart. And suddenly here we are at a point where we suddenly realise that he's completely in bed with NATO, completely
in bed with Theresa May,
and we've had the same thing in England with Trump turning around and with Brexit and everyone believing that UK is going to be independent. And
yeah, I mean, look what happened. The UKIP leader just said, "Sorry, we won."
With him all along.
I'm just going to run and just escape. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, you can see the whole plan. It was a whole. This has been long worked out. And you know, the whole Brexit thing, unelected leaders, and then we've got Theresa May, an unelected leader, and now we've got sort of like everything.
It looks more like a coup, like a giant coup, basically, of two countries.
It's unbelievable. And so I can imagine everyone who was calling that out is kind of feeling a little bit, you know, I felt, you know, when I put a date on this, it's so terrifying because I know everyone's going to rip the piss and everything else like that. But if I don't talk about it, and we don't prepare, or we can't learn about this, or can't put the information together and start developing a rational plan that we can all work with.
This is the thing. We have to act. You know, it's time to do something really.
Yeah, we've got to come together. We have to come
together. We have to do something really peaceful because these are warmongers. They're trying to divide the world into: are you Catholic or are you Muslim? Forgetting all the differences and all the different people that live on this planet. Some people haven't never seen the TV in their life, thank God for them. You know, and some people have not been colonized, but a lot of people have been mentally brainwashed by this kind of leaders, so-called leaders.
And it distracts us from what's really happening in the world. Most people think that Nibiru isn't happening, and I'm completely mad. And yet, you see, I think that the story that most people are following is complete madness going on.
Most people were thinking that fascism wasn't coming back, but look at what's happening. You know, fascism is hello. We're still here.
I'm delighted to be able to congratulate you on what was a stunning election victory.
Oh, stunning victory. Hacked by somebody.
And as you say, the invitation is an indication of the strength and importance of the special relationship that exists between our two countries, a relationship based on the bonds of history, of family, kinship, and common interests.
Yeah,
and in a further
war,
sign of the importance of that relationship, I have today been able to convey Her Majesty the Queen's hope that President Trump and the First Lady would pay a state visit to the United Kingdom later this year, and I'm delighted that the President has accepted that invitation. Now, today we're discussing a number of topics, and there's much on which we agree. The President has mentioned foreign policy. We're discussing how we can work even more closely together in order to take on and defeat Daesh and the ideology of Islamist extremism wherever it's found. Our two nations are already leading efforts to face up to this challenge, and we're making progress with Daesh losing territory and fighters, but we need to redouble our efforts. And today we're discussing how we can do this by deepening intelligence and security cooperation, and critically by stepping up our efforts to counter Daesh in cyberspace. Because we know we will not eradicate this threat until we defeat the ideology that lies behind it.
Until they stop funding
our
it.
Talks will be continuing later. I'm sure we'll discuss other topics, Syria and Russia. On defence and security cooperation, we're united in our recognition of NATO as the bulwark of our collective defence. And today, we've reaffirmed our unshakable commitment to this alliance. Mr. President, I think you confirmed that you're 100% behind NATO. But we're also discussing the importance of NATO continuing to ensure it is as equipped to fight terrorism and cyber warfare as it is to fight more conventional forms of war. And I've agreed to continue my efforts to encourage my fellow European leaders to deliver on their commitments to spend 2% of their GDP on defence so that the burden is more fairly shared. So it's only by investing properly in our defence that we can ensure we're properly equipped to face
Europe,
our shared challenges.
I don't understand this. She says my fellow European leaders, but she doesn't want to be in Europe, obviously, because she's the government that is supposed to lead Brexit. And then she says to...
Which is now Frexit, it's moving over to Marine
she's
Le
saying
Pen.
to the rest of the European leaders, I'm not in Europe, but please keep on investing in war because it will help our cause. But do we really want that?
So where did it all come from? That he was just anti-NATO, anti-NATO, and
do you know what it looks like, Dave? You know what it looks like from this footage you just shown me? It looks like she's totally leading what he's going to do and not the reverse. I don't think it's him leading her. She looks much stronger in terms of behavior. She looks like he's just obeying whatever Teresa is going to say. And who's behind Teresa? That's the question. But anyway.
Yeah, well.
It looks like some dark forces are...
And we've got to counter that. We've got to counter this. Yeah. We can see what's happening. You guys can see what's happening.
Yeah, it looks like the seat of power is definitely in London rather than in Washington.
Well, we all have to start mobilising now because, this is on an individual level. This is all about from the messages that I've been getting through by doing the process that I do in my writing and that sort of stuff is this is about who you are. Mm-hmm. On a very kind of heart level, and so they're trying to draw us into a lot of anger. They're trying to invite you into a lot of anger and a lot of hate. Remember they did it in Germany, and they got them to hate. They got them to hate Jews and to allow them to start shipping them out, just like we're shipping out refugees.
The Jews aren't responsible for all the trouble in the world. I mean, there's a lot of bankers that aren't Jewish, and I think the bankers are mostly responsible for a lot of what's happening. And the arms manufacturers, look at who's making the weapons. America, hello. France, hello. England, hello. We've got them. We make the weapons. I mean, we sell them onto all these countries that are fighting. When does that?
This aggression, and then having to deal with the results of it constantly, whilst blaming them. Anyone, we can see the Muslims are getting blamed. They've been constantly attacked.
Who is funding Daesh? Why do they have brand new Hummers? Think about that. Why do they have brand new Hummers? They don't even have AK-47s much. That's Russia, okay? So it's not Russia. But where do they get the Hummers? That is a question. And did they really steal them from leaving Iraqi, funded National Guards? I doubt it. There's too many of. And I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
We can see the direction this is going, and so.
You fabricate the enemy, and then you say we have to defeat that enemy. So you keep this ongoing process of war by creating the enemy. It's like what happened with Twin Towers. There's a lot to say about that anyway.
But in terms of where this is going now, I just feel like it's time for, as you say, all the truth seekers to come together.
All the alternate media as well, because there's a lot of people like us trying to make sense of what's going on, and come out with another kind of version of the story, because it's their story at the moment. We have to make our story, which will become his story.
Or her story.
Her story. Her story is nice. That's Mother Goddess kind of. Yeah, I like that, Dave. Well done, Cheshire Gahan, for that. Her story.
Yeah.
And all the women out there, thank you, because you did something amazing by showing Donald Trump. You can't just grab fannies like that. That's great. That's great. I love that.
It's absolutely terrifying, isn't it? It really is. But he has got that kind of expression, like you are right. He has got that kind of expression, like he's kind of like she's calling the shots a little bit.
Yeah, it does totally look like that. I mean,
but none of us really know, and so we've got to play our own individual game here, and that's what this is about now. But we've got to come to a place where we've got to begin this quest. We've got to begin a pilgrimage and touch our divine heart center.
Back to ourselves, yeah, definitely, and find who we really are as a species, as individuals, and
help each other to come together.
And stop seeing differences as threats, because, I mean, if you grow up in a solely white area, maybe you don't know what black person thinks, but now the world is so multicultural. I mean, if you live in England, you've seen black people, you've seen Muslims, and you know in your heart that these people are mostly kind and generous, at least as much as white people are. And white people can be really horrible too, so
don't go into the hate.
Yeah, we've got to stop going into the hate and seeing difference as a threat, and just find the common things we have with people, and let us bring us together. And music is one of the great weapons against all this fear-mongering, because music is just about feeling, not thinking, feeling from the heart. and from throughout your body, these waves, you know, and sharing this bond, you know, that we have. So
I'm up for it.
I think we should have a big festival, like you said. You know, we should have a big get together around the end of this year, when the shit's supposed to hit the fan, as we say.
I don't know I mean, no more fly-by dates for me. But
no, so I wasn't talking about just fly-by dates, but it could be a war, it could be a lot of things. So
just a reason for us to come together in peace.
We'll be stronger together, you know, and in peace. Yeah.
And you guys, please get involved in this. This is going to become the new theme of the channel now. Is a gathering, a festival, and a bit of a summit on not just Nibiru, but on all kind of truth seeking. You know, to bring all these different things together, and to try and connect the dots, to bring scientists together, to bring
all of your skills, and
to bring a whole collection of people together with music, with intentions, but on a pilgrimage where you all go on your own sacred journey, and then you bring the product of what you've become as a result of your faith, as your beliefs, as a part of your aspirations. We bring that together, and we make some magic happen. We make magic happen. We come out of this fear. We make a miracle happen, because we all need a miracle now. So, Bart, you know, hopefully we can open this up. We can do it through your website. We're going to set up a new website. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's going to be something along the lines of pilgrimage, maybe in French. Not too sure how to say it.
Pèlerinage en français. Pèlerinage, mon ami.
So hopefully something along that line.
Well, if you've been watching until now, you know, keep following our updates. We'll let you know. But I think there's something really big coming, and it's not what you expect.
I really hope so.
It's something much more beautiful than what you expect. I think knowing the people we know around here, we've got something good waiting for you.
And the international audience that we need to bring this together, because if we can all come together and bring this energy and make it come together, you know, you've had enough information about this thing now. There's enough evidence to see that there's something really fantastic going on, and that it's time for us all to start doing something bigger and more constructive that really helps, because we're just not believing this, and we need to come out of this necessity to believe it at all and just come together with a massive celebration, a massive gathering, and a bit of a summit and a conference and all of that together. And if you want to help in that, we can develop that. We're going to aim for late September, because that's the perfect time to do it in the Pyrenees.
The weather is amazing. That's my 40th birthday, so I'll invite all of you to my 40th birthday.
He's got a good reason to do it.
Yeah, we've got a great party ahead. Lots of musicians coming from around the world to celebrate together.
You're invited. We've got to make money happen here. We've got to make talent happen here. We've got to make information happen here. We've got to fuse it all together and make it a pilgrimage up in the mountains to make it attractive for everyone. So get involved.
Yeah, break up your routine, you know, leave your job for a bit, and for good if you can, you know, if you can afford it.
Or come and make this your job.
Just come and work with us. Come and work with us. I'm not selling anything, you know. All I've got is love for the whole people who are going to come, and I just want to share this joy with as many people as I can. So.
And can I just, not a plug on the book, but I'm going to leave a free download for my book at the back of the end of this video, or in the intro for this video, because it's about a pilgrimage, and we all need to go on a pilgrimage, and it's a sacred pilgrimage, and really have a read of it. You got time now. We got at least a year before the next flyby, and we don't know if that's going to be the closest. How many more years we can get? Maybe it doesn't exist at all. But I think us all coming together to celebrate peace and to celebrate what is our true unity on this earth, which is our heart. Yeah. You know, coming back to heart and love.
Back to feeling all right, you know, all right.
Back to feeling all right.
I say on that note, there's this song that you might play. I don't know if you use it for your soundtrack. You can anyway. You're free to use it.
Is that tune you played earlier?
It's from 2012, so it's, you know, right on the lines of what we're talking about.
We're gonna finish on that tune, and we're gonna.
I'll leave you with Feel Alright, and if you want to download some free music, it's all on soundbringer.com on the website, so just get on there, music player.
I'm going to put your tune on at the end of this video,
and download it.
And I'm going to just put some more images that we couldn't get on for this thing, great. Just to finish with some last images, just sort of like
no more fear-mongering. And
no
feel
more fear,
right.
Just amazing, just celebration. Right. We're through it. I think we're through it now this year. I think we've pretty much done the most of it.
Get back to your heart.
Hopefully. But let's make something big happen next year.
And come to Ariège
later
this year.
September, and we'll start this thing and going to keep it going. Got lots of people who want to get involved.
Come to the heart chakra of the planet. I mean, I think this is a heart chakra of the planet here. You know, come back to your heart and come back to the heart. The heart. You know, this is it. Thank you, Dave.
Oh,
thank you for being in the studio. We'll have some more interviews soon. And maybe bring out some new guests, because we've got some great speakers around here, some really interesting people. So I'll try and overdub this in French if I can, because it would be nice for French people also to be there and be involved. And there's a lot of them that don't understand English perfectly, so we'll try and get them on board.
That'll be a bit later.
A bit later. See you soon, guys.
Take
Girls.
Care. Thank you.
Aliens,
Cheers,
Greys, everyone. See you soon. Love. Peace. Yes, we've done it. Mr. Dave.
Yes, I'm the soldiers of love. What? We want soldiers of love to unite, yeah. Yes, I came down to make you feel alright. Came down to make you feel alright. Yes, I came down to make you feel alright. Came down in the morning to make you feel alright. Yeah. Come down in the morning light to make you feel alright. Yeah. Came down to make you feel alright. Yeah. Come down in the morning light to make you feel alright. Come down in the evening time to make you feel alright. Yeah. Came down in the morning light to make you feel alright. Yeah. Came down to make you feel alright. Say don't be a banker, don't become a cop, don't be a soldier or fire a shot. 'Cause what the world needs now is peace and love. So just relax and let it shine from above. Yes, I came down to make you feel alright. Came down to make you feel alright. Come down in the morning light to make you feel alright. Come down in the evening time to make you feel alright. Yes, I came down to make you feel alright. Came down to make you feel alright.
Come on, dear sir, burn your fire, we'll light this fire, take you higher, please don't get back, don't become a cop, don't be a soldier or fire a shot, 'cause what the world needs now is peace and love, so just relax and let it shine from above. Don't be a bank, don't become a cop, don't be a soldier or fire a shot, 'cause what the world needs now is peace and love, just relax man, let it shine from above. Come on, dear side, burn your fire, we light this fire till it take us high. Don't be a banker, don't become a cop, don't be a soldier or fire a shot. 'Cause what the world needs now is peace and love, so just relax man, let it shine from above.
Don't become a soldier, 'cause the world just needs peace. I said, don't become a soldier. There are too many bullets flying. Yeah.
Come on, dear side, burn your fire, let's light this fire till it take us high. Please don't become a banker, don't become a cop, don't be a soldier or fire a shot. 'Cause what the world needs now is peace and love, so just relax and let it shine from above. Keep cool and calm your attitude and just listen to your mother.